In this tutorial, we're going to cover creating a 3D planet using CC Sphere and After Effects. The texture map will be created in Photoshop, so we'll begin there. We're going to create the text that appears on this CC Sphere that came from After Effects. I'm going to start with a new file that's approximately 4 by 5 inches. Resolution is up to you. I've made this at 100 dpi. I'm going to go to my layer window and I'm going to choose a base color for layer number 1. Using my swatches, I'll choose a random color. And I'm going to go to my layer window and add a new blank. Now at this point it really becomes subjective. The only thing you need to bear in mind is that when you paint your texture, you'll want to make sure that you go from the outside of your document on the left to the right or vice versa. So it's important to have your work area so that you can paint through your document. Now if I hold the shift and then drag from the outside left through to the right, I get a consistent line, which means when it wraps on the sphere there won't be a seam on that shape. Now here again is where you can start to add your own content to this. I've gone in and added a number of layers, and I've added some effects, bevel and emboss, some outer glow to give this a bit of a texture. This is an important component if you're working in game design. We try to add what we can three-dimensionally inside of a texture map as opposed to on the geometry of the model, but this is also an aesthetic choice. So I've got a number of layers here, and you can see it's a simple symmetrical shape, and I've been careful to begin and end my brush strokes on and off from left to right so that the left edge is identical to the right edge. And I'm going to add one more component because if I was to add this to a sphere based on its consistency, we wouldn't see it rotate. So I'm just going to put a spot anywhere in the center of this so that our eye has something to hold on to when the object or CC Sphere rotates in After Effects. So once again, I'll add another layer. I'll pick a different color. And perhaps I'll use my lasso tool to make a spot of some kind. And again, I can't emphasize enough how subjective this all is. I'm going to save this as a JPEG just to make it a little easier to bring into After Effects. I'll go to File, Save As. I'll name it Planet Skin. Making sure to put it in my folder where all my After Effects content resides. And I'll click OK. And next we're going to go to After Effects and apply it to that spherical filter. Once I've returned to After Effects, I'm going to import that flat file. So if I would go to File, Import, and File, I can click on that texture and I can bring it in. And you'll see in your project tab that it shows up in the left-hand corner. There's the thumbnail and there's the file in your project tab. I'm going to drag it and drop it onto my screen, and I'm going to give it a color just for my reference. And with that layer selected, I'm going to go to Effect, Perspective, CC Sphere. And you'll see that it immediately wraps it around that 3D content built into After Effects. Now the project tab has been superseded by the Effects control. And in the Effects control, I'm going to open up Rotation. I'm going to put my playback head at the beginning of the timeline. And I know that it will be rotating on the y-axis. If you're in doubt, you can scroll these little dials you see in the upper left. And you can see by dragging on the y-axis, it does confirm that's the axis I'd like to rotate it in. I'll return it to 0. I'll set the first keyframe to the left of the word rotate Y on the stopwatch. I'll proceed to the end of my timeline, and I will set it for 1 revolution. Now if I were to play my file, I get the rotation of the planet on its Y-axis. Now there are a number of other things you can play with in this filter. There is a change for lighting. You can change the light to another color to integrate it into your composition perhaps. And you can also change the direction of the light. You can see I can place that so that I can decide where my light source may be. And there it is.